right, it's great to see everyone this afternoon, and I'll just start off answering any questions you may have.
I'm going to take Dustin's role and ask about injuries.
I'm superstitious. Dustin, could you ask that question, please? Right now, we fully anticipate everyone being ready to go. Brett Kendrick was back. He practiced, went through the entire practice. Preston Williams practiced. We held Kenny Bynum out, but he'll be probably the one who'll be questionable. Juwan Jennings was very, very limited. We kept him in the training room a little bit, but we fully anticipate him being ready to go. So in terms of health, Jayshon Robertson made it through the entire practice. So as of right now, we anticipate everyone playing or being available to play.
Butch, what do you think of a young offensive line trying to deal with being in a hostile environment? It looked like you held up pretty well against Alabama, but going into Missouri, your thoughts on that?
We've had some great learning experiences along the way, and when you're developing a team and a program and you have younger players, it's how do you learn from all those lessons and how do you apply them, you know, not only to the next game, but throughout the course of the season and throughout the course of your career. And so we've played in some great venues. Missouri will be another great venue when you add the uncontrollable factors in terms of the weather conditions and all that. Everything is your mental approach. It's your mental disposition. And, you know, you win games, or you have the ability to win games, to put yourself in position to win games through your week of preparation. And we've had a very good week of preparation right now, but that's all part of it, is that mindset that goes into preparing, that mental effort, that mental intensity. And our players, particularly in the offensive front, have done a good job with that all year.
You mentioned the weather conditions. How do you prepare for, you know, what could be a really cold night,
right,
especially when you only play in it once or twice a year?
Well, that's challenging in terms of how do you simulate it in practice. But you have to start controlling your mind, and we call those uncontrollable factors. You know, that's part of the game, and it's being locked in that zone, having that mental focus and preparing for it and being prepared. We'll do a walkthrough at the stadium on game day, like we always do when we play a night game. So we'll try to get them out there in the elements. You know, I was hoping for a little bit of colder weather in preparation this week, but we haven't had that. But you talk about it and you embrace it, and both teams have to play in it. And it gets back to that mental conditioning, it gets back to that toughness, and it gets back to the maturity of your football team.
Steve in front, then Troy.
Getting back to the offensive line, just how have the guys dealt with, I mean, you want cohesiveness, you want to establish a rhythm there, and with all the different combinations you've had, how have they kind of adjusted and adapted, and have you ever had a season like this in terms of injuries to a line?
Never had a season like this in terms of all the injuries that we've been through, particularly, you know, a couple position groups have been hit the hardest. But I think that's a testament to their resolve, to their resiliency, and it's part of you know, the way we practice. And I think it's a tribute to our players of having the mental capacity to be able to play a number of positions. And when you look at what we've been able to do, number 2 in the conference in rushing, have already surpassed last year's rushing totals. You know, that's a tribute to everyone around them and themselves and the running backs and, you know, the entire group. So it's been a great group effort. We all know we're facing, I believe, the stiffest challenge we've faced all year in terms of just the completeness of a defense. I think they're a complete defense. When you look at their stats, you know, some defenses are tops in this category, tops in that category. They're basically tops in every defensive category that is out there. And, you know, they're tough, they're physical, so it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a game of patience. And it gets back to, you know, when your possessions are limited, having a snap and clear mentality, making every play count, in first down efficiency is absolutely critical of staying on schedule. This is another defensive football team that we can't be in third and long situations. That's really when, you know, their personality really comes out and they're able to do, you know, diverse things schematically and put players in different positions. So for us, mixed downs are going to be very, very critical.
Troy in front, John Bryce, Danny, and a few more.
Coach Jancic was talking yesterday about just all the responsibilities a nickelback has, and that's not a position that Malik has kind of played throughout his career. Just how much of a transition did he have to go through early in the season, having to change from outside to nickel?
It is a transition. And nickel is one of the most difficult positions in defensive football because there's so much that goes into playing the nickel position from a physicality standpoint, from a mental capacity standpoint. A lot of times you're matched up on their best player in the slot. You have to have the physicality to set the edge of the defense. And there's so much that goes into it with, with the different volume of coverages that you want to play. I think the game of football has really become a nickel-oriented type game in terms of defensive structures. So the nickel position is critical.
John Bryce, Danny, Dustin, and Steve, and one more.
Butch, you've called Missouri tough. You've called Missouri physical. Do you believe your team is better suited to match that toughness and that physicality than maybe in the previous couple of years when they've been able to get you guys?
Well, I do, but it's going to be a great challenge, and we pride ourselves in being a tough physical football team as well. And we have a lot of youngsters that are going to go into a hostile environment. We have to rely on our previous experiences, and we have to be better for it. But our toughness is going to be on display, and just our overall ability to execute and be able to focus on the controllable factors and not worry about anything else, and have a mindset that every play takes on a life of its own. And that's why we talk about snap and clear. Play the play, clear it from your mind. No matter if you had success or you didn't have success, you have to move on to the next play. And a lot of times in the evolution of players that are gaining their maturity, they let a play beat them twice, or they let success beat them on the next play or 3 or 4 plays down the road. And it's really having that mindset, that mental toughness to snap and clear. But that's something that we take great pride in, the way we practice, the way we stress, the way we stress it in everything that we do, and the way we work out. So it's going to be a great challenge. But I know also our players are looking forward to that challenge as well.
Danny in the back, then Dustin, Steve, and Seth, and that'll be it.
Coach, I don't know if you'll face a team that has such an emotional high going at the start of the game as you will Missouri this week. How important is the first quarter for you to kind of maybe, if you get, how big would it be to get up 2 scores to put them on the mat a little bit and take some of the crowd out and some of the emotion out of them?
It's a 4-quarter game, and if it takes how many overtimes, it takes how many overtimes. Obviously, when you're on the road, you are responsible, we are responsible for creating our own momentum. So obviously you have to have some momentum plays early. But I think a lot of times, too, you have to withstand that. And you have to just never look at the scoreboard and just keep playing and just stay focused on the process. And football comes down to winning your one-on-one matchups. And football is a game of one-on-one matchups, and really being focused on the task at hand and really focused on the way we prepare, on the way we play. And if you do that, usually things work out for you. But if you get caught up in all the distractions and the emotion of the game and all the things that are going on outside of it, that's when you have a lack of focus. And when you have a lack of focus, you're going to turn the football over, you're going to give up a big play, and you never want to be the person, because of your lack of focus, that allows that team to gain momentum. So our players, for the most part, have done a good job with that. But when you go on the road, those are some of the challenges that go along with that. We talk about great road focus and determination that's associated with that. And you're playing a team that, can generate turnovers and that can score at any point of the game. And they have good special teams as well.
You mentioned the offensive line earlier and all the injuries they've had to deal with. How important has Kerbyson been as a leader, just kind of guiding that group through there? And how has his sort of leadership style worked for that group in particular?
The best thing I can say about Kerbyson is he's a rock of stability. He's been very, very consistent each and every day, not, from his approach to practice to his approach on game day. He's worked exceptionally hard. He's worked on his technique, his pad level, his strength. Love everything about him. Love what he stands for. Love what his family stands for. You know, here's an individual that has paid his dues in this football program. And he's able to talk to our younger players about redshirting and not playing early, you know. And, you know, a lot of times individuals play the game for different reasons. Kyler Kerbyson plays the game because he loves football. And he's been through so much in his career. He's experienced so much in his Tennessee career. And just stability, consistency of approach. And I think he is grateful for the opportunity to be able to represent the University of Tennessee and what it stands for on the field and off the field. He's as good of an ambassador as we have in our football program. And, you know, when we always talk about defining Vol for life. You know, what does Vol for life mean? Is that for a player who's played 1 year in the program who left? Is it for a player that played 3, 4, 5 years? Is it for players that have made the program better because they were a part of that? And I think if you're looking for an individual who defines Vol for life, and we have a lot of them in this storied program's history, but I think Kyler Kerbyson is truly a Vol for life for the adversity he's suffered, the perseverance, the resolve, and he's playing his best football as a senior. He's a leader. He does everything that's required of him and asked of him and more. And I could go on, but I just have a tremendous amount of respect for him and this entire senior class for what they've meant to our program and moving it forward. But he truly is a Vol for life.
Just with Kyler, did you have to talk to him before the season with all the youth it looked like you were going to have in the line with Marcus out, Jay Sean getting hurt as early as he did, in terms of what he was going to have to do as a leader, and just specifically how has he kind of led some of those younger guys?
You know, not really. Kyler's a very cerebral young man. He thinks things through, and he viewed himself as a leader. He viewed him as that offensive line room along with the other seniors in that room. So, no, really didn't have to. He just kind of took ownership. And, you know, I think that's part of our growth and development program here at Tennessee as well is, you know, many leadership opportunities, exposing them to all those opportunities that exist, putting him in those situations, and he's made the most of it. But he takes great pride in his performance day in and day out, and it shows. And I think he brings a level of toughness, too.
Getting away from Missouri specifically, but just in general, 2 games left in the season plus the bowl game. How do you keep the guys focused on what's going on here and now, and for the upperclassmen not looking forward to their future and what's going to be with their football careers? And also, how do you balance the act with guys like Cam Sutton, Jalen Reeves-Maben, your juniors that are draft eligible? How do you keep them locked in, and how do you walk the line of wanting them to pursue their NFL dreams, but knowing that them coming back is best because, you know, obviously having guys get drafted is great for the program and great for recruiting. So how do you balance that out?
Really, as of today, that has not been one issue with this football team. And that's the exciting thing is I think the maturity that they've displayed and shown throughout the course of the year. We've been a focused football team. We've been a determined football team. You know, a lot of times at this time of year, you can let your mind wander and it can go in other places, and I have not seen that. We had one of the best Tuesday practices we've had, one of the best Monday practices that we've had. You know, every football team has a life expectancy. And it's like I told our football team, Team 119's, the hourglass is turned over. Our life expectancy is dwindling. It's, 11 or 12 some odd days left, you know, and then obviously a bowl game brings you back together. But their consistency and approach, the weight room is filled after practice, and we always talk about just winning the day, just being 1-0 today. And our players have really embodied that. I don't see that being an issue or a problem. You know, I kind of joke with Brian Randolph when he said he's not an emotional guy. But really, we talked about the difference between passion and emotion. In terms of the NFL, you want players that are NFL caliber. That's what this program has been based on, is great NFL players and making them NFL ready when they leave here. But also, we have a whole NFL educational program, and it's all about the betterment of the individuals. But, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But, there's a difference of just leaving and being a first 15 pick in the draft, or second, third, fourth rounds. A lot of times it's better to stay and, be a part of something special. And I think every individual in our program understands right now that they're part of something special. We're building something special, and the togetherness of this football team, and the ability to push each other on the practice field and make each other better. But then when you step off the practice field, your brothers in your one Tennessee, your one football team, and that's what being a team sport is all about. But our team has showed incredible maturity. Now our maturity will be on display Saturday night. We'll find out a little bit more, but up to this date, been proud of our players.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good day.